Well, howdy again, YouTube. Unky Joe here. Unky Joe's Playhouse. It's time for a Sunday morning, afternoon video. Actually, it's Sunday morning for you. I don't know when I got this video posted, so it could be Monday or Tuesday for all I know. Anyway, I woke up this morning inspired and thought, well, I'd put together another video. And this is a home repair video. I'm telling you, I'm updating you on the status of my home repairs that are always an ongoing chore here at Unky Joe's Playhouse. I've also had a few of you ask about the pool, so I'm going to talk about that as well. You'll have to forgive me. It's about 70 degrees here in Unky Joe's office. It's been hot. It's the middle of May and it's already gotten hot outside, so we've had temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s Fahrenheit here in South Texas. And it's very humid outside, and I didn't realize when I went from my cool environment of my office to the outside that the lens was going to fog up. I couldn't see anything through the viewfinder because it's so bright outside, even though it's a cloudy day. So some of this footage is horrendous and cloudy, but I think you'll get the general idea of what's going on. Now, the video you're about to see now is about the front porch on my house, or the front deck. And I had this thing built back in '04 when I worked for a lumber company. I had a coworker of mine who was a excellent carpenter, and I had him come out. And what we did was we disassembled the porch on the back of the house because it was rotted and falling down. I built that one originally, didn't do a good job of it, and we took the lumber that we had and we moved it to the front and made a new front porch out of it. Now, the other thing he did when he built the front porch was to put me a front roof on the porch and squared it up with the house. We noticed a few months ago that the porch, or that the roof, was starting to sag and lean to one side, and turns out that when he put the roof on, he just set the 4x4 posts on top of the deck, and that's actually not a very good way to do it because the deck is going to settle. They all do. And as it did, and the weight that was coming down from that roof was sitting impinging on the deck and caused some problems. Well, it's better I show you the footage and I'll talk you through the footage as we look at it. Alright, as you can see right here, there's one of the posts, and it's just sitting on top of the deck. It goes up, and that's where the column meets the double 2x8s. And all three of these columns were the same, and you can see, especially here, you can see how that column is barely sitting on top of the porch. So we put a temporary post up on basically a mechanic's jack to hold the weight of the roof, and then this is my neighbor Joe, and he is putting a new column in place. And you can see how precarious that post was, just sitting on top of the porch. And he's trying to get it lined up, and we got lucky. We had just enough room, if we took the front ledger board off of that deck, to get another metal post up in there. And he got it in there and got it mounted, and kudos to him for getting that done. And then, as you can see, the other side, these posts go actually all the way down to the ground. Now, this is the front of the deck, and you can see that post, there's nothing holding it in but a couple of nails. There's nothing holding that front ledger board in, I should say, but a couple of nails. And that post, it's bearing a lot of weight on that post. And that was our concern. We're like, why did he build it this way? But, it is what it is. And you can see this one even worse. In fact, I put a temporary support underneath there just to keep it from kicking out. But there is nothing supporting the weight of that roof on that porch, and those nails have started to actually pop. So we put a temporary brace in there to hold it up, and then the underlying deck structure is plenty secure. And this was Joe and I discussing the best way to mount that column. We had to cut a little bit of the 2x4. This is just a fascia board on the front to attach things to. So him and he was consulting me on what I thought was the best way to put that column in, and we eventually did come to a consensus that would be the best way to put it in there, and it still leaves us room to put a ledger board on the front. And so there's his column that he made over in his shop. They just live right next door, so it was trivial for him to make that column. Alright, and some more footage of the front of the deck. Again, boy, that column, I didn't realize how bad it got until I came out. You see it is even twisted at the top. We got real lucky that that roof did not fall during a strong windstorm. And Joe's digging the footers for the concrete pad he's going to put in there. And we don't have to go down very far here in South Texas because we don't get a frost like people up north do. So we don't have our soil is very expansive though. But man, I just keep coming back to that column and thinking how lucky we were that it didn't actually collapse when somebody was standing on it. And if you want to come along with me on this voyage, we're going to go take a look at the pool. I know a lot of you have asked about it. I've already started on it. This pool was, and pardon the haze on the camera. I didn't realize that moisture had collected on the lens. I couldn't see anything out of the viewfinder. But normally I get this pool started in the middle of April, but we had so much rain and cold weather, I was like, well, we don't want to swim. And I won't swim in a pool unless the water is 78 degrees or higher. It was a murky green swamp, and now it's a cloudy green swamp. I've already put a couple of gallons of bleach in there. And what I do is I just keep adding bleach, like a gallon a day, until the water gets clear. And then I can, that way I can see the bottom and vacuum all the muck off of the bottom of it, because we have a tree right next to it, this tree right here. And I did have a little trouble getting the pump to start up this year. This is probably the last year for that Intex pump. It's got the bearing was squealing, and but we'll see if it makes it through the year. And then here's a view onto the porch. And as you can see now, we have the third and final column post put in place. There was a hummingbird coming up to one of the rose bushes, if you saw that. And again, I so apologize for that hazy lens. There's my little baby girl doing what she does best, and that is checking things out. We did save the railings that we took off of the porch, just in case I want to use them again, the pickets, but I may end up redoing it from scratch. And if you look at that shed right there, that's where the welding shop is of my next door neighbor. That's where they fabricated those posts that we put in. It's a beautiful day outside. The birds were singing and chirping, and there you can see the three posts are now in place. The last post is not straight yet, but it was just put in there temporarily. We'll come back with a sledgehammer and beat that into place, and then we'll put some lag bolts in the top there so that the it'll limit or eliminate the side-by-side motion. And as you can see by the evidence of all the rotted wood here and rotted posts, they have done just that. So Joe's been over here the last few weeks, and he's been making me some posts to put in. So we've got some steel posts in to secure the porch, as you can see. He's got all three columns in now, and they are in concrete, so they're not going to go anywhere. Previously, what they had done was they had rested, not Joe, but the people that built the porch had rested the posts right here on top of the deck. And the problem is that the way they had placed them right at the end of these boards, and they had started to shift and move. And as you can see, I don't have a lot of length left on these joists to support that. So we came out, we found the deck was shifting, or the roof was. So we pulled all this off, and then Joe came over, and as you can see, he's got the columns, the posts down in concrete pads, and he's got them mounted. They go all the way up to the roof, and then we'll come back and put some lag bolts in. He just finished, Matty May's inspecting his work. And he came and did this last column the other day. So they are in concrete, and then the posts go all the way up to the frame of the roof, as you can see across here. So we got a good start on it. Now we need to go ahead and put the front skirt back on, and we need to construct some sort of railing system. So the deck is in good shape, and now the roof is actually secured. So then we're also going to have to redo these stair railings over here on the sides, but that shouldn't be too big of a job, and get this back in order. And then I think what I'm going to do on one of these is actually put a ramp. I may put a ramp on this one going down into the yard, because, you know, as my mother gets a little more elderly, gets a little older, it's hard for her to get up and down these stairs. So if we put along, and my dog Toby is crippled, so if we put a long ramp here in place of these stairs, I just think it would work out better. So we're going to look into doing that. So, and then we'll take another view of the pool here. Hopefully we'll be in that here in a few weeks. And the columns, like I said, are done. They're in place. That last column needs to be straightened, but he's waiting for all the concrete to cure, etc. And then we'll come back and he'll finish that. But the posts are in, and that roof is not going to go anywhere now. So as you can see, not a good way to put a roof on a deck. You should not put unless those posts are going all the way down to footers, you don't just set a roof on top of a porch structure. It's just not going to stay out. In fact, I'm amazed. We've had 20, 30 people on that front porch at a time. I'm actually surprised we haven't had issues before now. But I got with my neighbor next door. I've known him and his family for over 20 years. In fact, I knew the family before the twin boys were born. And his name was Dale, and I had him come over and take a look, and he said, yeah, we can put you three columns up that'll support the weight of that roof, and I'll send one of the boys over to do it. So he sent Joe over, the ginger without a soul. And no, I don't really believe that. Anyway, so Joe got to work on replacing those posts. So that's the footage you saw. That's who the redheaded tall young man was that was over here working, as Joe, and he's a great guy. And he constructed those posts over in their welding shop, and then brought them over the course of a couple of weeks and installed them. So this is par for the course for me. Usually around springtime I start getting spring fever, and I want to go outside and work on projects around the house. And I'm not getting any younger. I'm 53 now, and so it takes or 52. I don't even know what age I am, but I'm over 50. And I like to stay active, and I especially like projects around the house. So you can see that we're also doing the side porch as well. I've got some more video coming up on that as we complete that project. And then we'll move to the front porch and get the new railing and new stairs put on. And then I'm probably going to end up putting a ramp on one side of that stairwell, because all of my relatives are getting older and elderly. My dogs are getting elderly, and we need an easy way to get my mother in and out of the house should she become wheelchair bound. So these are all things you got to be thinking about being a homeowner. As life goes on, you get older, it gets a little harder. So, and then the other thing is liability. I certainly don't want anybody to get hurt if something were to happen to that roof and it would fall. It could kill somebody in theory. Not only damage property, but it could kill somebody. So you have to be, can't be complacent when it comes to home repairs. So there you go. Front porch still a work in progress, but I'll keep you posted as we move along. So there you go, YouTube. We hope you found the video entertaining and informative. As always, please give us a like and a thumbs up down below. Leave your comments in the comments section. Have you ever had to build projects like this? What was your experience with them? All that good stuff. Donate if you're so inclined. We take PayPal and we take Patreon, and all the money you donate goes right back into buying items for this channel. And of course, as usual, we got more exciting videos coming up. Thanks again for coming to see us, and please don't forget that we will see you on the other side.